most people listening to this, when they use an AI, a chat GPT, it's like having a really smart person in your office that you tap on the shoulder and say, oi, help
Go
me
do this.
rewrite this email. And then it
Right.
rewrites the email and then it forgets.
Yes.
There's no follow through. There's no real economic work because economic work is more than a prompt. Now the AIs are getting smarter, not only on the instant reply prompts, but being able to work on very complicated multitask things. That's only in the last few months. So the latest race is to go from the goldfish memory prompt-based things to replacement of economic work.
Right, which takes us neatly to your prediction in your book. So you say in The Last Economy, we've got a 1,000-day window before things become irreversible. Basically, in the sense that AI gets past a certain point where we won't be able to slow it down or control its direction. So what exactly becomes irreversible in 1,000 days from publication, which was 3 months ago, because you published this book in August? And how did you come to that number?
So when I published it in August, it was 1,000 days since the day release of ChatGPT. Now we're at the 3-year anniversary this week. And it doesn't feel like 3 years.
No.
It feels like a lot longer than that. And in that period, you've gone from quite dumb responses to less dumb responses. But now you're about to take off as you have these agents, these things that can write their own prompts, that can check their own work coming through. So the 1,000-day window is actually not about irreversibility alignment. It's more about your economic value. So most labor in the global north and the west, UK, etc., is cognitive. And it's how do you do a tax return, It's how do you do a flyer? How do you make a website? It used to be that, again, to scale these things, you had to hire humans. Now you just have to rent GPUs from Microsoft or Google or others. And the cost is about to collapse. What we're going to have in this next period, and we can see all the building blocks there, those of us that are right inside, is in the next 6 to 12 months, they will look through all your emails, all your drafts, all your video calls, and be able to create a digital replica of you that you can hop on a Zoom call with or talk to on the phone. And that will not make mistakes. It will never get tired. And the cost of that, we estimate, will be about $1,000 a year, dropping to $100 a year very quickly.
Okay, I'm seeing loads of potential complications with having a version of me out there in the universe making decisions potentially without my approval and sort of thinking what it thinks that I would think and making decisions accordingly. Lots of perks.
Lots of perks, exactly.
But also lots of risks.
Lots of risks. And this is the thing. The capability is coming in the next few years. So within, let's say, 900 days or so, any job you can do on the other side of a screen, an AI will be able to do better. And it will be able to, maybe it's not Myriam or Emad, it's Emad's job, as it were, within that. Like a tax return, for example, used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. It will cost $1 to do. And Andy will be your virtual tax accountant. You can't tell if it's a human or an AI. Now, it doesn't mean that the jobs will be replaced, but they can be replaced.
Okay, so on this one, I have 2 questions. One is, this mechanical work, and apologies to accountants, because I'm sure you're not mechanical. But there is something you'd call mechanical work. And then there's something, I'm in a creative industry. I like to think, as I'm sure most people do, that I'm irreplaceable. Are you telling me that the sum total of not just all the studies I've done, all the experiences I've had, the ways in which they interact in my brain, that there is a better version of me that can exist in the digital space?
So what is the verifiability of that? What are you measuring against is the question, right? And so a version of you that can speak automatically in every language and appear on every single outlet virtually has more reach, and it never gets tired. And again, what's the cost of that? In terms of the quality of the output, it can learn from your exact intonations as you're speaking. You can go to something like HeyGen, and you can create an avatar of yourself right now in 5 minutes. It speaks 100 languages.
Yes.
And it's just got good enough literally in the last month again. Whereas previously I wouldn't say it was good enough. Now I'm like, it's good enough for a lot of things. But where's it going to be in a year from now and 2 years from now? So when we're talking about economic work, a lot of economic work is rote and mechanic. Our schools and our jobs are designed to turn us into machines. And obviously the machines will be better than we are at being machines.
Yes.
When it comes to creativity and output, the best output doesn't always sell. It's about your distribution. Like I give the example of Taylor Swift. Apologies to the fans. She is not the best artist in the world.
Apologies to the Swifties.
Exactly. I'd say premium mediocre, like Dashim or something like that.
Yes.
But she built a massive network. She can change GDP. She can cause earthquakes in that way. But again, it's not the highest version of art. Just like the number of key changes in the Billboard Top 100 is now 0 from multiple a few years ago. What sells isn't necessarily what's creative. And what sells, just look at K-pop.
And I guess also in this conversation then is what sells what we think of as what's best. Because I could think of, for example, for me personally, there are brands, for example, clothing brands that sell loads. Don't particularly like them. There are very small brands that I love that I think are incredible. So I think it also takes us, I guess, into a conversation over what we attribute value to and what we will attribute value to as we move into this era. Just quickly, this 1,000 days. So you said when you wrote the book, it had been 1,000 days since ChatGPT had been created. Why does your prediction that we have 1,000 days to solve this conundrum that we're in, where did you get that figure from?
So it's an extrapolation of things like the length of task that an AI can do. At the start of the year, it was about 10 seconds. Now it's 7 hours. You can literally plot it and it's a straight line as you look up. It's a look at the economic value of each task. Again, a straight line going up. It's a look at performance. A year ago, ChatGPT was basically a high school mathematician. A few months ago, it won a gold medal in the International Math Olympiad. And it came first in the International Coding Olympiad and first in the International Physics Olympiad.
Can it beat you in coding?
Yes, it's a better coder than me and a better mathematician than me.
Oh, Emad.
I know. You got to be realistic. But again, the version that you're using now, at the start of the year, the version you were using was the best version that was out there. Today, it's not. GPT-5 is not the best version that OpenAI has.
No, I can imagine they've got a few in the stockroom.
Yeah, but like I said, at the start of the year, that wasn't the case. So again, when you're using it, it's getting smarter, but it's not actually what the state of the art is. And the state of the art is something that's basically coming for your cognitive value. Like right now, we're spinning up agents that they don't cost $10 a month. They cost $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month. And they're way smarter and more capable than us as we're trying to testing them out. And you feel like the dumbest person on the team. And that's where humanity is going to be in a few years for most cognitive labor. The value of human cognitive labor will probably turn negative.
Okay, so spell this out to me in terms of concrete manifestations of this change for people listening to this, watching this. What should they be attentive to in terms of what your warning is coming?
If your job can be done on the other side of a screen remotely, like not the human touch of sales or interactions, an AI will be able to do your job better within 2 to 3 years. And it will cost probably less than $1,000 a year to do it. And that cost is dropping by 10 times every year as well. So what you need to do is you either need to use these tools to build your AI teams to be the most productive person in your organization. You need to leverage this to actually give a damn because the AI doesn't really care, right? Leveraging these tools and actually caring about your organization, your community, whatever, allows you to have that extension and more capability. And then you need to build your network. Like ultimately, like I said, even though we'll be able to technically replace the jobs, people don't like firing people. It's bad for morale, And in certain sectors, you're probably okay, like the public sector. Like a San Francisco metro administrator earning $480,000 isn't going to get replaced by an AI.
I've heard you say this before, and I actually think that's really counterintuitive to me because I would have thought public sector is exactly where we're going to see the first applications of this, like we've seen in Albania, them willing out this AI minister. Yes, which to us seems very odd, but I imagine there'll be a normalization of these sorts of processes, first and foremost by poorer countries in public sector spaces. What makes you say that's the space that jobs won't be cut in? Is it unions, the power of unions?
Exactly. It won't be cut. But we finally have a chance for our governments to become more efficient and aligned. And again, this can be a great equalizer. Like the average IQ around the world is 90, mostly due to infrastructure issues. We built a medical model that fits on any phone or a Raspberry Pi, this $30 device that outperforms a human doctor. And it needs $5 of solar power to drive it. So for $60, you can give a top-level doctor anywhere in the world without internet. That's huge, the potential of that technology, where you didn't have the intelligence, capability, wisdom that can go to everyone. So I think the technology will be embraced. Public sector jobs will be safe because they'll be last to go. And I think that, again, you look at this, your productivity will be determined by how engaged you are with this technology. Just like, do you know how to use a spreadsheet or a word processor? Are you an AI native? Will determine that. The most difficult thing isn't for the people who have the jobs, who can upskill themselves. It's the graduates entering the workforce.
Right, because there's actually a big freeze happening on the hiring of graduates, right? Which you're connecting to the integration of these new technologies into companies globally.
Yeah, there was a paper by Eric Brynjolfsson and co. at Stanford where they actually broke down the job slowdown. They saw it was in graduates in these cognitive areas. Because, I mean, again, anyone here who has a company is thinking like, why would I bother with a graduate when my people with a few years experience are more efficient now?
I mean, it's a really important question for our companies to consider because, you know, you don't just hire graduates because they're cheaper. You also hire them because they learn your company culture. They become integrated into forms of, you know, implicit learning that you are transmitting through day-to-day interactions. And I'd be very curious to see whether a technology that's not present in a room to capture that, you know, the shift of the eye, the sleight of the hand, the kind of, you know, the 70% of our communication, which is nonverbal, right? But which is also really essential to so many jobs. I'm looking forward to seeing where it stands on some of those things.
Yeah, you know, until we get robots walking around, which is a few years from now.
Yeah, not far off. China's using a lot of them already, right?
The advances in robotics are crazy, actually. Like, you've got robots that can basically, I think, do most household work are about 2-3 years away, and $1.50 an hour.
Inshallah.
And there we go, you know. First to be teleoperated. But then, like, this is why the most dangerous at-risk jobs are the ones that can be done fully remotely.